you found me no search. It's like you knew that inside I was hurting. I was so young, said no chance, but you gave me a shot at a romance. I feel like you were like an angel sent to bring me light. Now that I'm with you, me one say that me love it, that me love it, that me love. Hey, me no go one day wonder without my baby, without me love, without me love. And I dance and sing and I sing because you make my life complete. Oh yeah, oh yeah, I can't believe that this is for me. Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I can't believe that this is for me. Oh yeah, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's for me. Shut up, 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 shut up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's for me. I've never felt this way. So when they ask us, say, oh yeah, we're going all the way. So me, we happy, love you all the time and things. Sometimes I wonder if the thing could cut us under, to get under, I know. But your love in my life control that. I laid out my life this way. Do anything to make you stay. All of the blessings, they come my way. And all the bad things, they turn away. Sometimes life is such a scare. Your love gives me the strength to bear. Oh, shut up, shut up. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Just for me. Shut up, 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 shut up.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, it's for me. Greetings and gratitude, everyone, everyone. We have a beautiful guest today. This is Soul Connections, and can you pronounce that for me? Is it Talaya?
Talaya.
Talaya. Okay. We have an echo or a playback happening.
Say that again.
It was a playback or echo.
Is it still happening?
Yeah, just a little bit. It sounds like something else is playing.
Is there anything I can do?
Wait, I think it's gone now. I think it's me echoing back talking to you. Is it playing somewhere else?
No.
I don't know why it's echoing back.
Do you still hear the echo?
Yeah, but I probably won't be the one speaking anyway, so it's okay. Because it's not echoing when you talk, so that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Greetings, everyone. First, I would like to say gratitude for you all for coming on for this, beautiful interview with Miss Talaya. I want to say gratitude to Quandra for my Yehuda pendant necklace. I absolutely love it. I show gratitude for that. So now, Miss Talaya, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I am well. We received an email. Hold on. Can you turn off that? What is that? Sorry. We received an email from you saying that you have been in an extreme abusive marriage. And then I was trying to get you on Let's Have the Conversation, but you were more comfortable with a one-on-one. And I definitely want you to be comfortable in telling your story. So where would you like to start with this? Because the email was very powerful.
Gratitude for that. I take pride in my writing. I guess to start at the beginning because it's only right.
Yeah.
I'll say I was 18 when I graduated. Well, 17 when I graduated high school. 18 when I met my husband. When I met my husband, he was actually married and he was looking to get a divorce. My husband was a truck driver. He was born in 76 and I was born in 1990. So it was a big age gap there. We started our journey initially off of building a business. So we sell t-shirts. He had an ice cream truck. He also traveled the world because he was a truck driver. He didn't go too far though. Um, at some point, him and his wife got a divorce, and then him and I got into our relationship. Before their divorce, though, well, not before their divorce, I'm not going to lie. We were in an intimate relationship during their separation, but before their separation, not before that, because they do have a son involved. So when I came around, my stepson was 10 years old. He had just recently had his 10th birthday. Um, and very quickly I got pregnant. So my first child came when I was about 19 years old. I gave birth to him at 19. Um, but we was married at this time. Well, no, I was pregnant, and then soon after we gave birth, I got married. And I got married because my husband had to go to jail. So my husband had to go to jail for 2 years. He was looking at 5 years, but he did a total of 2 years. And that was his way of keeping me around.
Now, how did you meet him though?
So I was leaving a dentist's office, and he was in a truck, and he pulled this big old 18 wheeler, made a U-turn, and stopped traffic to talk to me. And honestly, it's the weirdest fucking thing because I gave him the wrong, well, in my mind, I was giving him the wrong number, but somehow, some way, he called me and it was the right number. But I always been like a spiritual person. So when I was young, I had this like epiphany, a dream or whatever. And it was like a timeline where it's like I have to be married by the age I'm 20, and my first child will be born by the age of 21. This was what came to me. I wrote this down as a timeline. Like, this is crazy. So when I met him, so I just went through life. I was about 15 when I got that epiphany. And I just went through life, and I graduated. Here I am, graduated high school in culinary arts school, you know, paying my way through school, leaving a dentist's office. And I'm just thinking, like, I could say maybe months before I was thinking about my epiphany, and I was like, that shit ain't never going to come true. Because at this point, I'm like 18 years old. I'm like, I'm not even thinking about nobody. I'm not focused on nobody.
Right.
But the way he bucked a U-turn with that truck, it was amazing. It was amazing. I'm not gonna lie. But he had a young guy, his neighbor, come to find out it was his neighbor, in the truck with him, and he was doing all the talking, and he was like an airhead. So I definitely wasn't feeling him because, like, in my mind, you are your friends. So if I'm not feeling your friends, I'm not feeling you. So that's all the more reason why I was given the wrong number. But I'm on the phone with my best friend on the train, and my phone rang, and it's him. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to call you back. I'm on the phone with my best friend. But he was persistent in calling me. And I'm like, our first date, he came to pick me up, and he was the first man I've ever brought around my family. Like the first person I've ever brought around my family. But when he first came to pick me up, at this time I was staying at my grandma's house, and he picked me up in his he came in his 18 wheeler, but it was just like the front part. The trailer wasn't on there.
So he
And
was he was you said his friend was kind of slow mo, but he was
uh-huh.
silent. And
Yeah.
he, do you feel like
He's
he was
more a manipulator.
okay? That's what I was gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a manipulator. So he keeps people around that he can easily manipulate. So he has two faces. He has a face for the public, and he has a face outside door. I mean inside doors.
Normally do. They normally do.
Yeah, and so all I was getting was the outside face for a long time.
How long would you say?
So it started with little things. It started with um I don't like this friend. I don't like that friend.
Yeah.
You know, we're going towards marriage. They single. You know what I mean? Type thing. And he did it in such a way where it made sense. Like, okay, yeah, that kind of do make sense, you know? And I'm
Always.
young. My mind isn't developed. I'm like 20 years old at this point. And they're going like and then I need to take it back some because I didn't have family support.
Mhm.
So already being the black sheep, already being the black sheep and lacking family support. And then he's coming in as a partnership. Like I said, we build a business together. So I'm seeing a partner. So
Right.
I'm like, this is the first time I had this. So
Mhm.
I'm confiding all in him because that's all I got at this point, you know? So we eventually move in together. Well, I move into his house that he and his wife was living in. Bad fucking mistake. But I move into that, and then so where was I at? Because I need to go back to where I was at.
So basically, you said he was a manipulator, but I wanted to interject. 'Cause I want to question before you go back to it. So you say he was a manipulator and that you were 20 years old and you were looking towards marriage and he didn't like the friends.
Hmm.
I wanted to ask, do you feel like there was also a drawing in with sex?
Say that again.
Sex. Like, was sex a building factor for you?
More so for him.
Mm. I
Yeah,
know a lot
more
of
so for him.
abusers, they know how to give the good sex. It kind of draws people in. You know what I mean?
Well, in the beginning, it was that full attraction. Like, I'm attracted to you, your character, your person, like what you're bringing to me, what you're showing me. Because he was showing me different things, new things. You know, this is a grown man. This is a grown ass man. He got a professional job. He has his own house, a mortgage, a car. Like, this is a grown ass man. We got businesses. So, like, I'm on a high ass horse. Like I said in the email, like I'm up there. And like I said, I've always been spiritual, and spirit has always been telling me throughout the time I met him that nothing lasts forever. And I'm battling back with spirit. Shit, me, you not this one. You know, like I've never understood what that meant. Um, you asked a question: when did the abuse started? So the changing of my outfits and things like that, like literally, he'll wait till we get in the car and say, I don't like what you got on. Like, why you gotta wear your jeans are a little too tight? Like, your breast is exposed a little too much. I'm like, why would you wait till we get in the car to say this? Nah, we're not going nowhere till you go change. And like, we got the oldest son back there. We're expecting to go out. I'm going to go change.
Yeah, that's the
You know,
control
it's
factor.
exactly. It started with little things like that. And then him seeing just how much of family support I don't have, it really helped him out.
Yeah.
Like having no one to call on, he's seen that and he played on that. And not to mention, we couldn't call on his family, but his background, he grew up seeing his mother being abused by his father. And he would always tell me that I'm not being abused because in his mind, abuse was if if it was happening on a day-to-day basis like his mom was getting from his dad, and that's not the case. So um the financial abuse, because I used to get the checks. The checks used to come to me. I used to be the accountant. um and then the financial abuse just started to come through. It's like I stopped getting the checks. It started with, okay, you just getting the pay stubs, I'll handle everything else. And then it was nothing at all. And honestly, now that I think back, I don't know where the money was going. It was like I was always pregnant. My kids were back to back to back. I have 5 kids total birth, but I had 6 pregnancies, and that pregnancy was, I lost that baby like the day after he turned himself into work. I mean, into the jail, and we had a fight right before then, the day before, and I was on the floor, and my right hand was holding the front door. I was trying to get out, and he just lifted his foot up and kicked me in my back. And it was, and I believe, I don't know what caused me to lose that baby, but I lost that baby like the next day. I I knew I lost the baby. I felt it when I got
So
up.
so wait a minute now, Miss Talea. When do we go from change the clothes and, you know, I don't
You
like
cut
your
out.
friends? How soon did it go from I don't like your friends, I don't like your clothes, to the slap, to the choke, to the kick? Like how did that migrate?
So I would say most of the physical abuse came when he came out of jail. So when he was in jail, when he went to jail, I had birthed one child, lost Tayel, and we had the stepson. I had the stepson. So I was raising the stepson who he had got custody of from the mom who wanted nothing to do with the son. So now I see she probably wanted nothing to do with the man altogether. But I took on the stepson who was now maybe 11, 12 years old. Dad went to jail. And I had my son, my firstborn, and I had just lost Tayel. Um, I created structure because my stepson was thick. He was heavy. He was getting picked on in school. He was getting bullied, and he didn't have no chores in the house. So I instilled that in him. I gave him chores. I gave him a daily routine. We were exercising 2 times a day, in the morning and the night. Like, he was on a schedule. He lost weight. He felt good about himself. But when dad came home, it was time for dad to play the man role. Dad role looked different than what my role was and what I instilled in. Like, it was slacking. Chores wasn't getting done, because dad's like, you're here, you can wash the dishes. Like, the fuck? Like, I take care of the kids. I got pregnant right after he got out of jail. Soon as the first time we were intimate after jail, I got pregnant. I conceived my daughter, Tyra. Um, so I was always pregnant, you know. And he did 2 years in jail, 2 years, and came home. And mind you, when he was in jail, I had to save his home. His home was in foreclosure. So I had to save his home. His son was getting bullied in school. So we took him out of school and homeschooled him. So I'm homeschooling him. I'm teaching the baby. I'm trying to find jobs. I'm making like work outside of work around everybody's schedule. You know what I mean? To make sure everything could stay afloat. So he came home to his home. I made sure of that. Although it was in foreclosure, I managed to slow everything down and to save some things so that he came home to something. You know what I mean? So I made sure he had a home when he was released from jail. And then to have the stepson, you let him start slacking on the chores, it all didn't add up. So when I start to voice my opinion about that, it was, you need to let me do my job. I'm demasculating him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not letting him play his role. So I got to stop being quiet. So when I do verbalize some things, that's when like the abuse started, when he came home from jail. Because I seen how the structure was fucking up. Like, everything was falling. Everything I built. The boy started getting fat again. He wasn't exercising. He was eating what he wanted to eat. Like, the home dishes just being left apart. Before I got the boy, and I don't mean to say it like that, but before I came in the picture, he would come home every day with food on his clothes. Like, his shirt would be a mess. So when dad was in jail, I made him hand wash them clothes every day until he got the picture how to proper etiquette in eating his food. So when he learned that, like, and started exercising daily, he even saw that he stopped getting picked on in school. When he started taking care of himself and taking pride in his hygiene, it was a different story. But when dad came home, dad had to take over. I had to sit in the back burner. And it was hard for me. That was just hard for me to sit in the back and not take heed when everything that I built I saw was just going down, you know.
So now he's home and now he has to take back over. Um, at what point do the other children start to come? Because was there ever moments of loving, or do you feel like it was just, I'm just in this and I'm just dealing with this?
I Looking back, I'm just in it and dealing with it because it was always a cycle of me with the kids, me dealing with him. So the famous line was, "Are you finished with the baby? Can you do this for me? Can you do that for me?" And it's like, can I do something for myself when I finish with the baby? It was never time for me. So I've always had to plan everything around the kids and him. I never had time for myself.
I can resonate with all of this. I really can. So now he's home. You don't get much of a chance. When you said you don't have any family support, what about your friends? Like, did you still have any friends at that point when he came home from jail?
Um, no, not what you would call friends. No. I mean, I am always a private person. So I don't, and I fought myself. I have this little metaphor that I use, like I was the rod holding the curtain to the bullshit that was going on in my life. So when I got weak enough and the rod broke, you know, people started to see what was going on. I was holding up the curtain and hiding it from the outside. I was always a private person, so I never really. It was a fear of judgment, like, and then it's like, do you really care? What am I going to express it to you for if you really doesn't care? I never felt like anyone was that genuine enough to express it to them and get the help that I needed.
I totally understand that. I really do. I do. I understand that. I've been through it before and I didn't have the support. And it's hard when you don't know where to turn, So go ahead and finish and go into your story a little bit more.
Um, Before I met my husband, I was in culinary arts school. I had a I actually had a deal to work on Disney cruises when I finished school. But meeting my husband and everything, I declined that and I got married. When I say my kids are back to back, we have five total. And let's move on. We have Tahira when I last was talking. Then we have the baby boy, Kareem. Around these times, it was like we were in between jobs. We lost the home. Um, some way, somehow, he convinced me that we could save money by living in our car. So we lived in the car to save money. Um, we had two vans, and yeah, we had all these kids living in a van. Trying to save money. So I thought, because now that I think back, it was like, where was the money going? He had other women that he was talking to. One girl, he tried to get her to babysit our children while I work, and I long and find out that because one day she told me like he talks to me when you guys are arguing. and she said some things that she shouldn't have known. So like she must have been saying some truth. So to me it was like, are you having an affair? And later on it came out that, well, he said he was talking to her, but they never were intimate. I don't believe that. Um, he loved to try to make me look a fool in public. That's one of the favorite things. He do things like, I would call him dog whistle, like only things that a dog can hear, but things that he know would get under my skin. Like when he would talk to women, I come to find out that his alias name was Darnell. So one day we're out at Papa John's and we're ordering pizza, and they asked for the name, and he said Darnell, and we were just having a argument in the car, and I'm trying to diffuse the situation, and he goes in and give the name Darnell, and the like that's a trigger for me. That's a trigger, but the person behind doesn't know, and I react and I look like a fucking fool because this narcissist is now has he has a cover, but he has called me out of my shell, and this man doesn't know while I'm acting a fool. You know, he does a good job of that. Like he does things like one day like I said, we was living in a van, right? So I goes to drop him off at work, and I'm in like my nightgown, and we're having an argument, and I'm just like, I just get quiet. He wants me to respond, but I don't want to respond because I know it's going to escalate the situation, and we're now at his place of work. So he's eating an apple, and he takes like one bite out of this apple, and then toss it slam at my face, and it bust my eye. Now my eye's bleeding, and he's pulling me out the van, and like I'm in a nightgown, and I don't have any undergarments on. So now he's dragging me around, and all of my bottom is out, and I'm just fucking embarrassed. And I gotta come pick you up today. Like, so I'm supposed to just pretend like this shit ain't happened in front of all these people. And there I go holding that rod up again.
That's crazy. That happened to my cousin. I don't know why they love to do that and then want to accuse you of everybody looking at you and seeing you, but they don't care in those moments that they are exposing you. I've been there myself. My breast was exposed. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I felt violated. Um, it got to the point where like I didn't like sleeping in the bed with him. I would wake up and he would just be in me, and it's like he in his mind we're married, so he can have it whenever he wants, and that was not okay with me. So I stopped sleeping like in the bed with him. You know what I mean? So he would find ways to try to do that. It was distasteful to the point where I stayed around so long. And for me, it was because I didn't have a father growing up. And I know how it felt, how I felt. And I didn't want that for my children. Not only that, I wanted them to have a two-parent household. So I wanted so much. I wanted to break so many family curses within my journey, that I can possibly break. Like that I was in my mind, I felt like that's what I needed to do. This is where I need to be. This is what I need to do to break these curses, to make it happen so that my kids can live a better tomorrow. And that's what kept me going.
And that's the weird part, isn't it? Because where you want to do another journey for the children, it is another journey for the children. Now they're experiencing things that, you know what I'm saying?
And you don't get that until you're out. Well, I didn't get that until I was out of it, because for I never knew that people cared about mental health. I didn't think that was a thing. I'm having all these babies back to back. I'm going through postpartum depression on top of this abuse, depression, anxiety. Like it's so much that I was dealing with in one state that I just had to keep pushing on. It was impossible, but I kept going, you
Yeah.
know. And then one time my husband, he actually killed me. Like well, I know that Yehuda sunk in me before he killed me. That's what
Mm.
happened.
Explain that.
So we were having an argument, and in this argument, I felt me leaving myself as I was walking through to the bedroom. And it's just like I was getting distant from as my body was walking through the threshold, I I was still where I was. And I blacked out. And when I came back, my husband and my stepson was on top of me, smacking me and blowing into my mouth. And for about 3 months, my husband wouldn't tell me what happened. I knew something happened. I was not present. I remember standing. I don't know why I'm waking up and laying on this bed now. He finally told me, I don't know what happened to you. Your voice changed, your eyes changed. You was not the same person who was speaking to me. I believe I killed you. And I was so scared. I didn't know what to do.
Now, what had he done?
He left to strangle me.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it was by hand. Or could have been a pillow, because that's another thing he liked to do. Um, it got one day we so I had a slip and fall in the 7-Eleven. I was pregnant. So I won the lawsuit, and I brought us a RV because I want to stop living in a van. So with my money, I brought us the RV. Um, and in the RV, you know how it's made. It's one way in, one way out, especially in like the master room. One day it was like he got mad because he couldn't reach me, or I was in the hospital and he wasn't responding. And I don't know how my phone caught a recording of this, but my phone caught a recording of it, and I'm glad it did. But he
It's okay. Take your time.
forced my you know how you have your clothes in plastic bag, like long bags.
Yes.
He forced my head in a pile of it, and I just knew I was as he was forcing my head in a pile of it, he was opening up a plastic bag. My other kids are standing in the background watching. My stepson is in the threshold of the master room, and I'm just trying to yell, I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Get your dad, you know, like whatever bit of air that I can get. I know a part of me died in that place. Like I knew I was dead there. Like I was reaching for the window. I couldn't get it. I knew I couldn't get out of it, but I just needed something. And he's trying to open this bag to put my head in the bag. And at this point, like I just started to say whatever I feel that he wants to hear, you know, whatever's going to get to him to give me some type of oxygen. And I managed to get out of that struggle, but I never like I was never the same after that because I was present for that. And it's not like I don't call the cops. Like I call the cops, and like I say, he has a face for the public. So it's like I'm heated. I just got my ass whooped. I want some justice done. But I'm looking irate while he's looking calm.
Yeah.
And he knows where to put marks at. Because he
Yes.
will always say, like, do you have any bruises? Like, yes, they emotional. They're spiritual. I'm scarred, but they're not bruises that the naked eye can see.
I want you to take your time, and I want you to go into whatever you want to go into. Because your email, like I said, it was very vast, and you talked about a lot. You experienced a lot. I noticed one thing you said in the email, and you're saying it today. You said he liked to do these things. Tell me why you say that.
It happens so often, and it's like I start to see like a joy in his eyes, like a smirk amongst his face, as he does what he do. And it's so repetition, like how can you try to diffuse a situation but you still wants to egg it on? And I really believe that he likes to see me stop talking because I'm so vocal. I'm extremely vocal. And it's like I'm going to shut you the fuck up. Is That's what I feel. Um I have a slip disc in my neck, a slip disc in my back. I have a fractured finger. If you can see, it will never be straight again. Um he gave me a fracture on my head before. The slip disc in my neck came from him tossing me out of the moving van. I was in the driver's seat, the passenger seat while he was driving, and he opened the door while driving and tossed me out the van head first with my hands behind my arm. That's how I got my slip disc in my neck. I The slip disc in my back, it possibly could have came from just all the day to day abuse, you know, like just the beatings. And I went to his family before, but his family don't deal with him. And you wonder why his family don't deal with him. Um let's say his family didn't deal with him until he died, you know. But before death, on me trying to escape, it took so much. It took me losing me. So let's go to that day, the actual day where I got the strength. So the day before, we had a big fight, and we're still in the RV. We had a big fight, and he's whooping my ass in the street. I mean, just beating it left and right, all up and down the street. Um, it's a construction site going on, and it's a hotel on the other side. So, and it's about 8, 9 o'clock. It's a school like maybe a quarter mile up the street. So it's traffic going towards the school. It's people at the construction site. It's people at the hotel. You know what I mean? And I'm getting my ass whooped. It got to a point where he goes inside and grab a glass top pot, and he just smashed me upside my head until it shattered. I took maybe about 5 to 8 blows. I can't recall. And at this point, I grab a glass bottle, and I break it because I'm tired of it. I'm fighting back at this point, and I'm done. You know. So, and I'm coming back, and it's you and me at this point. We're both going fuck it all. So as I'm fighting back, now my stepson, whenever I try to defend myself, my stepson wants to step in. So now my stepson steps in. At this time, he's 18. So he steps in, and dad runs inside the RV. I'm running behind him. Stepson runs in between, and he gets cut by the glass. Little ass cut. Put a band-aid on it. Literally, he put a band-aid on it. Literally. Dad goes ballistic. Oh, you tried to kill my son? You just assaulted my son? Call the cops. So now he calls the cops. He calls the cops. Stepson is 18 now, mind you. He pressed charges on me. I look like a I look like a fucking crazy woman walking around with the bottle, and I'm so fucking truthful. I'm like, yeah, I got this bottle and I got it to defend myself, you know? Like, you don't see what the fuck, look at how I look, you know? And the cops like, so now I'm thinking about the kids. I get sane and I'm thinking about the little babies, the 5 little babies. And I'm like, if we all go to jail, what the fuck gonna happen to the babies, you know? So I just be quiet. The cops say, what happened to you? I say nothing. Who did this to you? Nobody. Um, so they taking me in because the stepson pressing charges. Next thing I know, a car pulls around, a group of Mexican people, and my private ass, like, I don't know what I'm thinking, they just trying to be nosy, you know. And they construction workers. I'm like, they need to mind their fucking business, you know. I'm in the cops car. She like, you know them. I said, no, but they need to mind their fucking business, you know. Um, they talking to the cop. Next thing I see is my husband getting arrested, and they like, she said they said she was out here whooping this girl ass up and down this road. So I wasn't saying anything, but the bystanders, by them saying that is why he got arrested. And that was by the grace of God. So then we're both in jail. The kids are now with the stepson. Somehow, some way I get released off of, PR, and I don't have no phone because my husband, everything is through him. Phone bill, phone, and when I all the fighting, I'm not grabbing the phone. They blocking me up with what's on me. You know, I don't have no phone. I don't have no money. I get released from jail and I'm walking home. I'm walking to the last place I know my kids to be. You know, and it took me maybe 16 hours to get there. My feet was blistered. It was a long walk. My feet was has never been so blistered. That must be how Juicy J felt because my feet was fucked up. I'm so serious. um, I didn't have no shoes when they arrested me. Like I got arrested with no shoes on. They didn't give me, so I had to go with what I had, and I was released like that. So when I got to my kids, they wasn't there. They wasn't there. Um, and I am so mad at this point, and I just feel like I lost everything. I don't have no way of getting contact with anybody. I don't know nothing. Then the jail told me I can't come around these motherfuckers because this motherfucker pressing charges. So I'm legally not even supposed to be here. But I'm here because I need to see my children. I'm losing it, and I'm talking to spirit, and I'm asking them, like, I go back to the epiphany. You told me to get married. You talked about these kids. Like, I followed through. You know what I mean? I'm doing my part. What the fuck else do you want from me? Like, I'm about to go. Like, I told them, I literally said, I'm about to walk to this store and I'm about to fucking kill myself. I had plans on taking a bottle of pills and just flying out and just sleeping there. Whatever happens, fucking happens. And as I'm having this conversation with spirit, I'm punching a light pole. It was a metal light pole, and I'm just punching it. And my knuckles is bloody and bruised, like they bleeding so bad. I'm not even feeling it. And all I know is this lady came up and just hugged me so tight, so tight. And I looked to my right, and it was a man right there. And come to find out, they were pastors. And they took me into their car and they talked to me. And I told them what was going on because I told spirit, you're gonna have to come save me. If you want me to keep going, you're gonna have to come save me because I promise you this was it. That was it for me. I was saying my goodbyes as I was punching that pole because I couldn't take anymore. I didn't know where to go from there. At that point in time,
I didn't have no one, and the only thing that I had, was taken away from me, and I didn't know how to get it back. I was lost. And to have them people, they called shelters, they found somewhere for me to go for the night. They gave me, it was Thanksgiving Day. I will never forget. It was Thanksgiving Day. And we went to the Bojangles, we ate, they fed me. I preferred Popeyes over Bojangles, but it is what it is. Um, when we ate, I was very grateful for it. I was grateful for the conversation. Um, and they took the time to find me a place, find somewhere for me to go, find me help. Gratitude, Monica. So he went to the bank before he dropped me off at the shelter place, and he got $100 out the bank, and he looked me in my eyes, and he told me, "Don't you ever go back." And it was that I never went back. Like, I just couldn't go back. What am I going back to? But well, I did backtrack a little bit, but not in the same sense, of a whole relationship type thing. So that started my journey with me with what is the foundation name? Because they helped me. They really did. Ah, I can't think of it right now, but when I do, I'll let you know. But it was a foundation that helped me, and they got me a hotel. So I'm in Maryland, PG County, Maryland, and they got me a hotel out in Maryland. But they didn't have no space in the shelters, so they found. So I stayed in the hotel for a while, and okay. I'm sorry. Let me backtrack some. So I missed some stuff. I'm so sorry, you guys.
No, go ahead.
Huh.
Say it the way you need
I
to say it.
probably
Go
don't
back,
even want to
backtrack.
talk about it. That's why I missed it. So our last baby, um, is now in foster care because he had a seizure. When he had a seizure, um, it was very traumatic. I was trying to stop him from seizing on the phone with the EMS, and I'm like, I can't do it. I can't drive, try to get him there, focus on him. I need an ambulance. So I'm doing what they telling me to do. Ambulance meeting me. We get him to the hospital. Whole time we're in the ambulance, I'm like, my baby is actively seizing. They're like, no, he's not. Fucking genomes. They don't know shit. Like, I'm like, I know my baby is actively seizing. As we're walking in, I'm holding a baby. Like, one look at the baby, the nurse say, he's seizing. Like, snatch him out my arms. And I'm like, you fucking, like, I fucking knew he was actively seizing. So he's an infant. He's like 6 months, 6, 7 months, maybe less than that. I can't recall. I have memory loss. Um, but we take him to the hospital. They ship him to children's, but when they ship to children, they have a transport team that comes. That has a nurse in the unit and everything. So in his when he got shipped to children, they I think they flew him to children's. Yes, they flew him to children's. My other daughter had got shipped to children's because we was living in a house with mold, and she stopped breathing at 7 weeks old. So that was a very traumatic one for me as well. But back to the last baby, because it's very important because it's an active thing. He had got shipped to children um via helicopter, and I met them near and everything, and I never left his side. So dad comes and go in between work and the kids, and we got the stepson, me on the other times. Um, Dad starts a fight with me. So we end up having an argument, and I'm very big on my energy. And I'm like, my baby is sick. My energy is fucked up. I'm not going up there with my baby with my energy like this. I'm going to stay down in the van. And I'm a severe anemic, especially after all of my pregnancies. So I'm like, I use the keys to keep the van, to turn the car on, to keep the van warm. You know, it's cold outside, so I have to do that. He take the keys because he thinks that I'm gonna go see a nigga. And that's not the case. So I can't stay down here like this. I'm gonna freeze to death, you know. Um, and I'm not going up there with my baby like this. That is out of the question. I'm big on energy, and I know how I affect people. I know that. I know I'm very powerful, you know. So he's taking the keys, and he waits till the security guard comes around, and he tells the security guard to call. No, he waits till the parking attendant comes, and he tells the parking attendant to call security. But at this hospital, it's not regular security. It's like MPD police, like Metropolitan Police, like the real deal, you know. He starts to fight. Like he starts to throw the keys at me, toss them, ball them at my face, and tries to come at me. As soon as they arrive, like, why are you doing all this? They breaks it up and everything. At this point, I go up with my baby. I leave to go check on the other kids because it's been like a week and I ain't seen my babies. I gotta go lay my eyes on them. I talk to them, but I need to lay my eyes on them, you know? So I'm gonna make a quick trip and come right back. And they
Now,
have
is this
nurses that come
after?
in.
Is
Say
this
that again?
after the punching of the poles and you getting with the pastor? Like, is this after or before?
After what again?
After when you walked and your children were no longer in the same location. Is this after that?
This is before, because remember I said I needed to go back?
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to verify. I just wanted to make sure because
Yeah. So um as I leave, I go to go see the other four kids, you know.
well, wait a
I
minute,
literally
Talia, um, Talia, because I want to understand where was the children?
they were at home with the stepson.
So have they been taken a time before?
No,
Why were
because
you
not yet.
separated?
Not yet.
Why hadn't
I
you
went
seen them
back.
for a week?
Say that again.
You said you hadn't seen them and you need to put your eyes on them. Why hadn't you seen them?
Because I was in the hospital with the baby.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I've
Okay.
never left the baby's side. And they have nurses that allow, like, if you need to go to work or whatever, they have nurses that come in. But again, I'm a stay at home mom. You know, my kids are homeschooled. Like, I'm going to be here with my baby right now. I don't trust you, motherfuckers. Furthermore, my baby can't talk. Like, I'm going to be here. So they was home with my stepson. And then none of my kids are vaccinated. Like, I don't do that shit. Like, so all the more reason, like, you not poking them, none of that shit. I'm gonna be here with my baby. I leave. I literally leave, go check on the kids, make sure they got food, talk to them, like real quick turnaround. Maybe 3 hours tops. I come back and my baby gone. I'm thinking I'm in the wrong fucking room. I'm like, where's my baby at? Like some losing Isaiah type shit. And they're like, man, we need to talk to you. We need to talk to you. No, the fuck you don't. Where's my baby? Then they come in with security and everything. They walked me down to the security office. I said, why y'all leaving me out the room? Where's my baby at? Like, social service come in, they took the baby. They took the baby because of domestic violence. So the little riffraff that my husband had and want to fight me over fucking keys caused our baby to be taken, and still to this day he is still taken. I'm still fighting this. Um, and it was at that point where it was like it was a wake up call to me. Like I gotta leave this motherfucker all the way alone, you know. So that's when I'm gonna take it back to the jail thing because when the incident happened with the baby, I'm like, let's co-parent. I don't want to be in a relationship. Let's co-parent, you know. And he wasn't respectful of that. That's when I was waking up with him sleeping inside of me, like, why are you trying to have intercourse with me? And I say, let's co-parent, but I'm trying to keep the vision up for the kids. So when the fight happened and I got arrested and I walked back to there and the kids wasn't there, I'm fucked up. And then that's when this all happened. And already my mind is set. I'm out of this fucking marriage because now it's a long fucking process. But once your mind is set on it, it's different. So when I get into this shelter place, they like they asking about my kids, and I'm like, I don't have them. But we had a court hearing for the baby. We had a court hearing for the baby. So they got me a protective order that protected me and the children. So it's game on now. I'm playing chess. I'm in the shit. He comes and he take the kids to court. I let the hearing go through with the kids. I mean about the baby, and then I had the sheriff give him the protection order, and he had to hand over the kids because he brought the kids to court. So he hand over the kids, and me and the kids started our journey in the shelter. So that was that. That was a fucking process. He
How
had
long
visitation
is
rights.
marriage?
Say that again.
How long were you in the marriage?
So I'm a widow. My husband died before I can get a divorce. Are
Yes,
you talking about actively in the marriage?
actively.
Actively, I would say about 5 years, half of my marriage. I believe I've mentally been gone. And the facade was definitely like for the kids. I never thought about self for a long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but
Oh, you're on mute.
where was I at?
You were now having the kids and you're in the shelter.
Okay, yeah. And he has visitation rights now. So now I have protection, and I'm trying to rebuild. He has visitation rights. Oh, this is a narcissist for real. Now he sees like I'm really about to lose. I got to show a different face again. He feels like he got to show the face that once got me. So he starts being nice again. And he knows I'm used to driving a car. I'm used to having a car. Now me and the kids are catching the bus. Like me and fucking four little babies walking up hills catching the bus because we're in an undisclosed location. Like we can't even get Uber rides picked up there, Lyft rides. You can't do none of that. You got to be 2 blocks away. So before I can even get a ride, I got to travel up the hill, down the block, around the corner to get picked up. So it was very stressful with the kids, and he had visitation rights, but he told me he needs some months. He needs some time to get his mind right. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, so I'm supposed to just take care of all these kids by myself, and you need some time to get your mind right. But I did what I needed to do in the shelter. Like it was stressful, not gonna lie, like it was very fucking different, like to live in a house with a bunch of different ladies and their children, with them raising their children in different kind of ways, different kind of upbringings. One, me and my children all in one room. Me not wanting my kids to play with some of these dirty ass kids, not to be funny, but it's just like, did you wash your hands type thing? Like it was so much going on in that one thing. Like I was really taken out of my comfort zone. I come from a house, a home, like our own little space to this out in the opening. We gotta eat with people, like, and then we had to eat food that they give us, like, because you
Yeah,
couldn't even order food, like you couldn't even get food delivered because
yeah,
again, you cannot give out that location. You had to
absolutely.
turn
You're
your phone
in a
location off.
disclosed location. Yeah.
Exactly, like it was the most stressful thing. But I went through it. And one day I got the call. Well, through it all, I'm getting these text messages, these emails, of him trying to get me back. So it was always like, he'll get the kids if I come back. He'll help with the kids if I come back. It was a wager. Like, if, oh, you want to go on a date? I'll get the kids. You know what I mean? Like, he wanted me, but didn't want the
Do,
kids, so to
do you
say.
think he would have killed you?
Absolutely, because in my leaving him, he stalked me. When he found me, he stalked me. He cut my brake line. Um, he vandalized my car. He ran up on me where I had to run to my car and scared out the parking lot. He ran behind my car. Like, I absolutely think in the end, because it got worse when I left. When
Mm-hmm.
I actually left is when it got worse. And he stalked me. Like, he found where I lived at and he stalked my home. He vandalized my vehicle. He bust my windows out 3 times. He flattened all 4 of my tires twice. Like, I had to move so strategically. I had to get a new car. So this is what I did when he was stalking me. I had to get a new car. And when I got my new car, I never parked it in my driveway. I had to park it 3 houses down. And I had my security camera, but I stopped living at my home, and this is where I am today. I stopped living at my home and I went to go stay with my mom. No, first it was my sister, and then it was my mom. And then me and my mom, it's crazy. Like, mouth is reckless, my mouth reckless, your mouth reckless, like, you're un it's already I already didn't have that support, so I don't feel it's genuine anyway. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I
Yeah.
don't feel comfortable there. Like, I feel like now while you're here, I done went through so much without you type thing. And that's sad to say, but that's the reality, you know.
Well, as you say that though, okay, say you were in the marriage and you were going through the abuse and your mom stepped in, would you have been able to hear that?
Absolutely. I reached out, like, if I had somewhere to go for me and my children, but nobody wants me and 5 children. Like, 5 little babies, that's too much. I
Mm.
even asked my grandma, could we rent out her basement? She told me it's unlivable when I was just living in it.
You know, I'm looking at the comments, and a lot of our viewers have been in these kind of relationships, me being one of them. And I don't know if a lot of people understand that we kind of stay in the relationships of this kind of abuse because you know what to expect when you're in it. The danger kind of comes when you leave it because you've never been there, so you don't know what that person is capable of. Even though we still say, please leave, and I still stand in there, please leave, because there's always options. But sometimes it's
And it got worse. Like, he
yeah.
he he's sending me pictures of me. He's sending me pictures of me while I'm out.
Mhm.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that's some weird shit. He's sending me my license plate number, my car. So now I'm like, the make and model of my car. So when I changed my car and I stopped living at the house before my lease was up, I stopped living there because I couldn't take it. He vandalized the vehicle. And not to mention, this was the fucked up part. Every time he came and vandalized my vehicle, what was like 4 times total, I would call the cops. I'm trying to keep a paper trail. So, because I already got this protection order, but you can't prove it until you see it. Like, you know what I mean? So that's when I paid like $1,500 to get security cameras installed. The installation was a pain in the ass. Like, it was a lot of money for a rental. I was renting this fucking place. Didn't even know I signed into a 5-year contract, but that's neither here or there. But I needed them cameras. And on them cameras is when I got him vandalizing the vehicle twice and coming back and cutting my brake line.
Hmm.
So every time he did that, though, I would call the cops, and the cops would come out, and then the county would come out, and they will write me a fucking ticket for an unoperable vehicle. I'm like, what is kind of bullshit is this?
Yeah.
Like, you gotta be working with the fucking cops. Like, you fuckers
Yeah.
are so fucking foul. I'm so serious. It was insane. So it got to the point where and then my insurance will go up.
Yeah.
My insurance, oh my God. My insurance went up so fucking fast. It went from like 170 something to like 500 fucking dollars. Like every time I stopped calling shit in. I said, fuck it. For what? Especially once I got smart and realized insurance wasn't going to cover it. Like, why the fuck am I calling it in? But I'm trying to keep a paper trail, though. I thought I was doing the
Yeah.
right thing.
Yeah.
um, but him doing that, I just left my home. I stayed with my mom. Then me and my mom got into it. I left my mom. Um, for a long time, I was afraid to work in the public. So because he's actively looking for me, he's sending me pictures of me. So I did jobs like Uber Eats, DoorDash, Instacart. I did not feel comfortable staying stationary. And I'm a culinary graduate, like I'm a chef. I
Yeah.
come from being a chef for hire, cooking for folks, making things happen.
What year did the incident happen in the middle of the street where you were arrested? What year is that?
Oh, our baby just turned 4. So I would say about three, 3.5 years ago.
Okay. Because there's an aspect to this that you said in your email, and we're gonna get to that just now. But um I was talking to someone today. I had a session earlier, and the gentleman was talking. The session was someone he knew was in a very abusive relationship, and her brother came to protect her and ended up killing her husband. And as he fled the scene from killing the husband, he was in some sort of accident and it killed him. So the young lady lost her husband and her brother on the same day. This shit gets real, which is why I titled it this. It gets real. People can say whatever they want to say. If they've never experienced this, they don't understand the fear that comes with it.
And when I did start to build a support system, like when I got back around my family and in leaving, he started to attack them. Like, oh my God. One friend, he went to her house like late at night, banging on her door, asked her, let me see her phone. Like he grabbed her phone out of her hand. Him and her husband got into it. Like she later told me this. So I literally stopped talking to people because I didn't want the riffraff to come their way because I felt like I was at fault because it was my husband coming after them. So I
Yes.
stopped relationships with people, and to this day they don't even know why. But
Hmm.
it was to protect them.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
I
I
do.
had to do what I had to do because he was outrageous. He was going to people's homes. He was calling people like he got out of hand with it.
Now, you said in the email, you said he used to love to take my breath away. And
Hmm.
in the end, his breath was taken away. Can we go into that now?
A strong believer in you live by the sword, die by the sword. You reap what you sow. What goes around comes around. Karma's a bitch. I love those quotes because I live by those. I believe in those. And I believe or I know who I am. And I know that spirit be working for me. And when enough is enough. And this is a very bipolar moment for me for what I'm about to say because I have to take into consideration my feelings as a person and then my feelings as a mother. So, September 18th, 2021, COVID took my husband's breath away. You live by the sword, you die by the sword. COVID affected his lungs, and he had to suffer the same suffering that he gave me time and time again. And to get the call and hear that, I'm gonna be real with you because I'm a human, like I'm gonna keep it a band. Like I was, it was a big ass like 1,000 pounds relief off of me. Like I felt so free. so free. And then I felt so small for my kids because I then put me aside and focused on them. Like, now they gotta live through what I tried to fight so fucking hard for. And then I cried for myself because I went through so much abuse to avoid just this. My kids have not having a father. But in the end, it is what it is, you know? And I have to live with that. And not to mention, in the midst of him taking the kids, when he first got the kids, because I have to go back to that, Quintina, it's very important I go back to that. When he first said he wanted to see the kids, I allowed him to. My kids just got over, like three of them, three out of the four at the time had diarrhea, snotty nose, and they were all in pull-ups. Like, I'm changing this shit in this shelter back to back, buying these pull-ups, ain't really got no money, walking back and forth to the store. He asked to see the kids. I'm like, damn, grateful. I'm grateful for it. I could use a break. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a human. I wanted a break. Be careful what you wish for. Because it was when he took the kids that I never seen them again. To this day, in his death, I have not seen my kids again.
You still haven't seen your children?
No, he's kidnapped them. Um, when he died, the kids was with the mistress. I didn't know where he lived at. So when I found out where he lived at, I went there with the cops. And the fucking cops gonna tell me that I need papers on these kids because they are in their physical custody. And I'm like, Dad is dead. Well, do you have proof that Dad is dead? And I'm like, no, I don't got proof. Like, he talks to me, I need a death certificate. Dad just died. I want my kids. Like, I was fast on trying to find some type of information, like what was leaked. Like, I went through court documents and so much stuff to find an address, and I was hoping that that was the address. But when I went out there, I saw the van that I last known him had. So I was like, that's where he is. So they went out there and they wouldn't do anything. Well, the cop was like, well, do you have car seats for the kids? I was like, well, I could go get car seats. So I called up my mama, my friends, my sister. I called up my sister, my mama, my friends. Like, I need some car seats. I'm like, car seats on the way. Let's go up in there and get these kids. Then nobody answered the door. So nobody answered the door. He was like, they don't have to answer the door. So I'm like, that's real fucked up. So they moved. Um, I'm trying to plan a funeral because my stepson finally calls me and was like, something about the funeral. As I'm planning the funeral, my in-law steal the body from the hospital. So they didn't even know, mind you, my baby boy is still in foster care to this day. I'm still dealing with that. Um, they didn't even tell him about the funeral. They withhold me and him from the funeral. And had the funeral behind our backs while I was planning a funeral. Like, they called me up, we was interacting. They sent me some baby pictures. I was getting things together. Only to find out that when my corner went to go get the body wasn't there. Um, so then now the grandparents got the kids. I don't know where the grandparents stay. I need a lawyer. And I know they're not going to just give me my children with my current living condition. Because I don't have the support. I'm living out. I just got comfortable working in public. So I now have a job out in the public, but I'm living in a hotel. Like, you know what I mean? So when people be saying stuff about you in your hotel, like, they really don't know anybody's fucking journey. And this shit ain't fucking cheap. Make no fucking mistakes about it. I wish I had a motherfucking rent, but I don't.
Me too. Yeah.
This shit
Period.
ain't cheap.
No, it's not.
So be mindful what y'all talking about when y'all talk that shit. Like, you don't know anybody's journey or what they going through.
Yeah.
So it's things I have to get in order, and I can't afford a lawyer. Actually applied for a lawyer, and I got granted one, but no, they never even emailed me back. So now I got to go back through and get a lawyer. But now the grandparents are asking to see my baby boy in foster care. You ain't
Oh,
never been in these kids' lives.
what the hell?
No, no. Foster care said they got him because they got to let him see him because he's family. And I'm like, you trying to build a relationship with this baby? They even actually trying to get in on the case. Actually, get this. My stepson tried to file to get in. Like he gonna take the baby. Nigga, you only 21. Knock it the fuck off. He actually filed custody against me for my kids. And the grandparents filed custody for me against my kids. So I'm fighting those custody battles.
You know what? I wouldn't trust the son to have a fucking good day. You know what I'm saying? I really wouldn't. I've been through this to where my abuser's son became an abuser. They both were in the penitentiary for murder at the same time.
He's a product of his father
Absolutely.
severely. Every
Absolutely.
time we have an argument, he's come bringing the son in, asking for his advice. I said a child need to stand in his place. That is not, you don't bring him in to get fucking advice on this, you know? And the child will sit there and watch the abuse. So I know he got it in him. Then he lies and say it never happened. How did
Because
it
he
never
you
happen?
know he can't register the right of the wrong of it. You know,
Not when he see dad as the shining armor, you
correct.
know?
Right. So he has this mentality now, I'm sure, of what a man is supposed to do. And he got it out wrong. He's killed
But
his son.
my whole thing is this was all learned from granddad. And granddad now have my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. We send Levy and I to your aid to help you with this family trauma. That maybe Levy and
Understood.
I can move in your direction to help you to receive housing, with your babies, and Befendia let her step in with Dial Night to bring that money to you to make
Shay,
things financially stable for you.
Shay, I receive it.
So, as we wrap this up, what advice would you give someone that is still in an abusive relationship right now?
The first thing is you have to be ready to leave mentally because it takes a lot of mental power. I'm not going to say it's easy because it's not. And that's why I'm telling you, you have to mentally be ready. And you have to plan. You have to be strategic. You have to play chess and not checkers. I don't care what role you have to be. One of my saying is like I had to be the greatest actress of all time. If I wanted to get out of this, I had to be the greatest actress of all time. If you wanted to make love, I'm here, you know, because I know in the end where my end game is. And you have to plan. You have to be smart about it. Because if you're in anything like I was in, it's very controlling. Everything is calculated. Like he knows where the money is. He knows where the phone is. I was hiding cell phones that didn't work in the woods, so I can call 911 when I have to run with no shoes on my feet. You know what I mean? So I leave my phone behind. I was hiding money little by little. I don't give a fuck if it's $5. It adds up. Try to find a safe haven. There's places out here now. And I didn't believe in it. I really didn't. But there are safe havens that can help you, even if it's temporarily, because we can't really trust these people. Just use them as footstools to get somewhere else. But it's definitely assistance out that you can look towards. I would say try to confide in a friend if you can. And I know some people may want to be private because they're ashamed, like don't nobody want to talk about that. Don't nobody want them to be seen like that. But you have to find someone, you can't be so private
Because if you're private, who knows? How can you expect someone to help you if they don't know? You know, they can see it, but they probably feel like they're out of place. Because I had a friend that came to me and was like, I saw everything that was going on, but I didn't think it was my place to say something. And I had to tell her, like, what the fuck? I really don't know if you're my friend. I really have to question your friendship if you saw something of that nature and you didn't say nothing. Like, that's foul.
You know,
But
that's difficult though, because just like the young lady was saying, she stepped in. I've known situations where people did step in. And it's like, bitch, mind your business, It's like, okay, like you don't really know where to step in. But I will say, um, step in anyway, because you don't know.
I would say that too, but the things that I say that she was seeing were like the red flags that when I'm in my butterflies, like I'm in the motion, like friends out there, if you see your friends with someone and they in the honeymoon stage, you know what I mean? But you see red flags, say something, because that's what it was. It was like I was in a honeymoon stage, but she saw things. She saw red flags and she didn't point them out before I got too far deep. You know what I mean? So that's where I was so hurtful by. Like, if you saw these things, say something, because I'm young. I don't know what the fuck going on. You know what I mean? We need guidance. And ladies, take your time. You do
Absolutely.
not know
Again,
every
for
fucking
those that
thing.
are making remarks that you don't understand, no, LA, your question was kind of aggressive and very, very judgmental. And I'm watching the chat. This
What
young
was the
lady,
question?
it was basically what you already described of, well, when did the abuse start and why do you have 4 kids? Like, she has 5 children actually. And I get very upset when people do that because you've not been in her situation. She told you in the beginning she was 19 years old and he was what, in his 30s?
Yeah, I was an undeveloped mind, and that's what I'm trying to let you know. Like, and it's okay because you couldn't walk a mile in my shoes, and I
At
understand
all.
that.
At all. At all. And I stand up for you and I commend you because I understand, because I've been there. The governess was in an abusive relationship. So if you ever come to my platform to talk that shit, you can, for one, leave and never the fuck return. Because any judgment passed on her, you're passing it on me, and you got me fucked up.
Me too. One
Period.
band, one sound,
One
and I'm
band.
certain the committee is ready to walk them down.
You hear me? I commend you for walking away and still having to fight this battle and you not giving up. I love you
I'm
to
not.
life, and I show gratitude that you even wanted to come and share your story. Okay. Um, let me read what she's saying here. You said, Phoenix, my point exactly. I'm just saying what we got to do, die before we get it, and then the kids have no mom. It doesn't matter. You've never walked in her shoes.
Everybody's journey is different.
It's not we.
Everybody. It's a million and one ways to bake a cake, and it's a million and one ways to abuse a motherfucker.
Exactly. I don't know if you have someone, but what you won't ever do is come and abuse anyone. Do you understand that you're being abusive?
At this very moment,
At this very moment, you are abusive and ugly, and please leave and never come back. Now,
and unsensitive as fuck.
leave and never come back. Now, your actions are abusive. And it's not a we, because you didn't step in any place to help her. Have you offered her any help or assistance to get her children? No, you
Or
didn't.
words of encouragement.
Or words of encouragement. No, you didn't. You came in with your nasty judgment. Leave and never come back. I don't give a fuck. Leave and never come back. You care about somebody's mental and mental health, then why would you ever come in here and speak to another woman like that?
And I am currently dealing with depression, anxiety, not to mention sciatica, arthritis.
I have those very issues.
I
Those
know, I feel for you. When your back went out, mine went out. I was like, Quintina.
I have 2 herniated discs in my back, one in my top of my neck, one in my lower back. My body aches and hurts at plenty of times. Like last night, my nose sometimes clicks from being abused, from him beating me in my face, and my nose has never been the same. Don't you ever bring your motherfucking ass in my chat with that bullshit. I mean that. Anyway, I love you to life, and I show
I
gratitude
love you
for your
more.
story. And I love you. And if anybody has anything, um, we don't give a fuck. Exit LA out of here. I want her blocked. I don't even care what you're saying now. I don't even care what you're saying now. I never want you to return here again. Because you couldn't exit while you was asked to leave. Now you're blocked. And I don't want you to ever come to no page I have. The disrespect won't be real today. And if can't nobody else do it, I can. I mean what I say. I don't even care what you said. Your attitude is always the same anytime I ever see you. Very condescending, like you know something. Anyway, I will let you go because let's have the conversation here shortly. And again, if anyone has any information that would be helpful for our cousin, please reach out and leave that information maybe in the comment section after this. I show gratitude to everyone for coming in and being your great selves with the lack of judgment. I commend you once again for sharing your story.
Gratitude for having me.
Absolutely. I love you to life. I see you later, okay?
Bye.
Peace, you guys. Before I wrap this up, abuse is nothing to turn your nose up about. Just like the spirit claimed his breath, I'm sure the spirit has other plans for some of you. There's something worse out here than death. You should understand that. Some things are worse than death. Just like the judgment, I hope you don't have a cousin, friend, sister, brother, child that you love. Because sometimes the spirit will make you know what it is that you said. And that's period. Everyone, I'll see you soon on Let's Have the Conversation here in about 2 hours. I show gratitude. Y'all enjoy your night. Until then, I see you in a moment.